to say. And the rock stars of the Overwatch League continue to crank out power chords.
Oh, snipe!
You got rocked!
It's the playoffs, baby. So strap in as only the best of the best remain.
I'm going all the way. I'm going. Yeah, my blood is rebel.
We know it won't be easy to hold that trophy, to wear that crown, but if you want it, come and get it.
First year in the league as an expansion team. That face that you saw walk out first is one of the more important in a matchup we want to illustrate. Baby Bay for the Reign. I mean, this guy on this roster, interesting to see which maps he comes in on now. A different look from Atlanta potentially as the meta has changed, but he still seems to be a pivot for this team.
And he comes over.
Cisco Shock. If you don't know who this team is, if you don't know every face on this roster, you've been sleeping under a rock the last year. This is what we call investment coming to fruition, Matt. This roster, I mean, getting a golden stage, not dropping a single map in stage 2. 2 teams worth of all-star players on this roster, not mentioned 2 MVP candidates. One of them obviously winning the award. Congratulations.
And oh, by the way, you have Striker, who if you want to have some hit scan power in the game, he can come in and play with the best of them.
Who we know
on to kick things off.
We know he's been grinding the ladder, Striker, you know, in his time off. Interestingly, the Shock actually subbed a lot of their sort of bench players into their stage 3 final matchup against the Dragons. Now, that was quite the play, but you can see the confidence the coaching staff has behind them. So Striker returns now. We'll probably see him on the repeat here. That wouldn't be a huge surprise. No sign of Super yet. Obviously with the necessity, Matt, of having Orisa in your main lineup.
Yeah, Smurf seems to be the Orisa player for this Shock lineup.
Gator is the Sigma player.
Yes, one thing you were also wondering for the Shock was whether we were going to see maybe Nevix in the lineup instead of Choyobin. Nevix grinding out the Sigma, but it'll be Choyobin playing it today. So Gator comes in for Atlanta Reign, like you mentioned. You don't have FRD, no Daco in the lineup, as he'll be playing the Sigma for Atlanta Reign.
Well, Sinatra gets hit with an accretion early on in the fight, but Baby Bay's already been felled by Striker, so now it's pretty free and easy. Sinatra to push in with Erster out of the picture. There's just no damage. Tearless and Master got halted back. It's Sinatra's path.
Now you'll have the Shock take the point first, and I think with Sigma's release and him coming into the playoffs, it's created a lot of weird things for some teams in the sense that you have to bring in maybe main tank. Or does your main tank play it? Now your off tank has to play Orisa like we've seen some teams play it. I think it's benefited a lot of these teams that have very flexible players like Choyobin, like Smurf, and Nevix as well.
We can't avoid comparing his Sigma to his D.Va, even if they're different heroes, Matt, because of the impact he had on them. Sinatra, sneaky beaky, into the back line, gets a punch on Erster. Not enough to finish him off, though. He's forced to get away with a seismic slam. Erster got taken down. Dogman's forced to fade away from Sinatra's meteor strike, and he's now down to get more work done. Choyobin was able to do so much work with Sinatra running wild.
And I was just going to say, you have Sinatra just jump right over that little barrier and seismic slam, get in there and punch, and he's not even worried about being taken out. It seemed like no focus on the Doomfist coming on and playing.
They're busy shooting shields, Matt. They don't really have time, or at least didn't feel like they had the bandwidth to deal with the Doomfist sailing over their heads. 48% to nothing.
Yeah, you probably need the sound barrier to survive this gravitic flux that Choyobin could put down.
Oh man, the halt as well. Everybody caught in it. It was the sound barrier though. Dogman, he kept alive long enough to get his coalescence, but Master was able to get that big ultimate off. The Shock still control the point though, and the Reign have a lot more work to do. Coalescence now from the high ground, but Striker, he's going in. Deep Striker time into the back line. Death Blossom, he's knocked away. Master protecting his team for the most part, but Striker, he wants to go back in. This man is relentless. Erster turns around and gets rid of it. Was Baby Bay to assist. Shock still on the point though. It's a long fight and they are accruing percentage every step of the way. Erster jumps in. Baby Bay, Death Blossom should have sealed the deal here, but the Shock have a big lead.
Yeah, and you needed to use that Death Blossom there from Baby Bay because you had both tanks alive on the point for the Shock, and Violet playing the Moira, as Moira can keep those big tanks alive for so long, especially when Orisa has the Fortify, and then you also have the ability on Sigma to be able to take in some of that damage, turn it into shields.
Kinetic Grasp, baby. We see how much you can get sometimes from that. It is ridiculous. Erster, Rocket Punch in. No targets found. Seismic Slam now. And to connect with Meteor Strike, looking for a squishier target ideally, but he'll have to deal with one of the tanks instead. He's able to get away, but Smurf, with the damage he took from the Meteor Strike, Gator is able to finish the job. It looks like the Shock are in disarray now. Sinatra focused down. The rest of the Shock have to get out of dodge.
You have such holding power with this double shield composition as we see Gator push on up. Sigma just puts down so much damage into those chokes. It's very difficult to go out there and be at full health. So you kind of think the Atlanta Reign, they can play around the corner, play around their double barriers. Some kind of splash damage will hurt some of the players on the Shock as they move forward. Definitely an advantage to the team holding these chokes.
And look at how frequently that experimental barrier is being redeployed by these Sigma players. It's almost as flexible as Reinhardt's for that reason, but to have extra crowd control and a bit more damage. Gator, pretty clear, he's going to go for the Gravitic Flux here. Striker didn't get pulled up by, but Smurf goes low enough to drop as he hits the ground. Accretion thrown out, but Gator is in dangerous territory, and Striker's able to run him down. The Reign go for a sound barrier with only 5 up. Seems to be enough to deter the Shock for now, but they know they have to commit pretty darn soon. Sinatra wants to drop in, but Choikobin no good. Tried to accretion Erster as he knocked him up, and that's a second now for the superstar. Looking for more. The Shock may not have much more to offer though, as they are already turned tail and running, and a Meteor Strike for extra damage on the chase down Smurf. He's done, and the Reign are at 93, Matt.
I'm surprised he used that Meteor Strike to go deeper. I thought he was going to come out as 98% here. Looks like Moth may be able to get a touch to force OT.
Supercharger thrown down by Pokepo immediately though. It's got to be the sound barrier now for the Shock to keep him in this. Striker backs away, hoping for a different way to get into the fight, and Baby Bay goes for a Death Blossom on the point. Choikobin almost got knocked back into it there by Gator. Mop drops onto the point, but he's a little bit too low, and Striker, it's desperation now with the Death Blossom, but he punched midway through it. They don't interrupt the performer halfway through their routine. The Atlanta Reign now at a sound barrier, gird themselves into the end of the round. 100 to 85, a close one. But Matt, once the Reign got back in, they could not be moved.
It was just the one break from Atlanta that they needed. Is the Shock, they're one fight away. I mean, 85% with the way they're rolling. They're one fight away from winning that one 100 to 0. It's just Atlanta able to break in. The double shield composition just too strong in those chokes. You know, the Shock didn't really even get a great fight on the point. You know, they get touched there at the end, but prior to that, they were stopped in the chokes the entire time. They never made any progress getting towards the point.
Baby Bay and Erster combined for 11 kills. Striker and Sinatra only for 7. The damage dealers from the Reign. Just one-upping a little bit now. The Shock have a challenge in front of them. We head to downtown.
You're going to have the same composition for both teams, just like we saw in Mecha Bank. So you'll see the Reaper and the Doomfist. So both teams want to play this close quarters style. Just brawl it out, try and get around these shields, burst down these tanks.
Get a Doomfist in there, find a pick. That's what you got to do, and Sinatra has done just that, making me look awful smart. Massa is down. Flexibility lacking for the Reign. They lack the speed boost and the boot to get Doomfist away from them. A trade out in terms of Doomfists, but I think the Shock are happy with that now, as the only damage dealer left for the Reign is Baby Bay. He will backed away.
Sinatra got a pick last time, though, in the previous control round, and that's what gave them the point. But when he wasn't able to do it again, that's when they lost it. Atlanta has come back.
They got the point.
Yeah, they've given up the point here, but they have Coalescence to play behind.
That hurts. Choikobin can't protect himself from that damage. He tries to go for the kinetic grasp and puts his shield back up. Sinatra down though, Dogman got him, and into the back line goes Erster. Rocket punch in, no wall to connect with Striker, but still damage was there from Gator. Choikobin in trouble. And this time the Reign retake much quicker.
And you have that Coalescence. Coalescence right now is one of the best ultimate abilities we have in the game in this type of meta. The damage and the healing goes through the shields, which a lot of supports not able to heal through the shields. Very difficult with 2 shields out there. That's why we don't see a ton of Ana, some Batiste on some maps. But right there, the Coalescence are able to heal your teammates and put damage on the opponents through those shields. And leads Atlanta to take the point.
Gator making use of the bouncing properties of the Hyperspheres to get it around the corner. Gravitic Flux. Gator gets caught in that one, but he goes for one of his own. It's confusion now for the Reign, and they get run over. Final Moth gone down to the Shock, have no supports. Even though they get the first 2 kills, Striker has to follow up. They get rid of Poke, but the sound barrier was good, and that extra support presence for the Reign may help them here until Sinatra arrives. Quick 2 kills, a rocket punch, uppercut combo for 2.
Baby Bay is going to be able to get on here and get a touch. He uses the rate, but he may get caught out here. Yeah, by Sinatra. So you'll have to wait a little bit longer for Atlanta. Him getting to the point only bought you about 7%, so...
And now it's going to stagger a little bit.
It's really nothing in the grand scheme of the game, because the Shock are going to get a lot of percentage just having him be waiting for the Atlanta Reign, so Atlanta also invests their sound barrier at the end of that fight. You know, Ursa connects with 3. They probably felt like they had a good chance of winning at that point.
They had the supports map, but not the damage. That's what they lost first in the fight. Sinatra backs away very quickly, doesn't want to deal with the halt. Massa pursues over the top. Oh, he sees a very low health Ursta. Tries to go, but doesn't connect the punch. Sinatra trying to drop down, thinks about getting rid of the supercharge, but a bit of damage on Baby seems to be preferred. It looks like he was hit by an accretion as he touched the ground. And in the meantime, Ursa and Dogman make short work of the shock. Another for Ursa. And the Atlanta are back in residence. Just a bit of stall for the shock, and that's all they'll have.
Ursa has been sick on the Doomfist. 11 final blows. Just really wrecking through San Francisco's backline. As Sinatra is the regular season MVP. If you were giving out an MVP for stage 4, it's probably Ursa, and he was that good.
If there's a play that's going to take Atlanta Reign to playoffs glory, it's probably going to be the man on your screen.
Without a doubt.
Meteor Strike available for Ursa, so a get out of jail free card is on the table. He jumps in, backs out. They lost Massa. Sinatra doing one better this fight. Quick 2 final blows for Sinatra, again stepping up. Tries to land a bit of a wishful rocket punch on Dogman there, who wouldn't have seen it coming. But the shock have already done enough damage to secure the fight win.
Games like this are so dangerous, though. Like when you're playing the game of which Doomfist is going to get the first pick off and
roll
a lot
the
of
dice,
fights,
Matt.
It's 50-50, right? You load up a punch, you go in, you may get one, you may die instantly, as it's so risky for both these players. So this will be the shock. We'll get up, match the Reign in terms of percentage.
Joven has a gravitic flux. If the Reign funnel out into this, it'll be the end of them. But they walk headfirst into Striker and they lose their secret weapon. Unlikely they want to continue without Ursta, especially now that he has Meteor Strike.
And it's brutal to try and push into a Reaper who's getting the effects of a supercharger in that close quarters area.
You can't see him until he's right around the corner on you. It's perfect.
Babyface gonna have to be the one to get a touch here.
Joven, gravitic flux, big catch, great hold coordination there. Not quite the impact he would have liked, but it was still a sound barrier in time from Massa. Smurf's a little bit low behind his shield, but Baby was forced away. Both these teams go for a brief reset for some healing. Baby trying to go for the Death Blossom as he drops down, but look at that kinetic grasp. Eats up a lot of the Reaper's damage. Striker now wants to try one himself. Tries to go to the high ground. A good boo from Massa, but it won't be enough. He's still able to get 2, and he's chasing Dogman for 3. Moth will finish Baby off, and now we have a game.
It's a nice boop by Moth as well. Onto Baby Baby used that Death Blossom from the high ground, booped him away. Ends up getting nothing with it. He actually boops him into an accretion that comes in from Choyoven. So you stun that Reaper, take him out. This one will come down to the final point.
It looked like they were trying to do the same thing to Striker. He just got a bit luckier. He got booped, but he was still able to drop down and hit the front line of the Reign with the Death Blossom.
I think the thing is, though, is when Moth actually boops Baby's coming down from the high ground. He actually boops him like a little bit higher into the air, so can't really connect with anybody.
Easier target for that accretion as well. Look at Popo on his final moments in that round. The Baby goes up, holds the Reaper towards him, even with the boop there. He brought the Reaper right to his own door.
Just a bit unlucky. Not ideal.
It was definitely not premeditated, that's for sure.
I feel like on this point, just like Mecha Base, like a lot of it's going to come down to first control and if a team can actually break. Like the fights on this point can go for so long. And for Doomfist, there's not a lot of like one-shot opportunities. Like you can go into the pole, but with so much open space, these are points that don't really tend to favor Doomfist.
If Sinatra's going to take that angle, he has to hit Popo into a wall and secure a higher amount of damage. But look at how they chased him down. And with him out of the picture, the Reign win that fight. Sinatra tries to go for a sneaky play. Blows up in his face.
And like our last 2 points that are really close quarter, have walls around the point. This is way more open. You're really relying on the drum in the middle, and then there's 4 pillars. And that's where Doomfist excels, like playing in the close quarter areas with around walls, with the rocket punches.
If you can get behind the defending team, sure, but if you're trying to punch in from the side, your odds are
so risky,
lower.
Because you have to use your movement abilities to get behind them. This will be a Coalescence, Atlanta getting aggressive behind this Moira ultimate yet again. But you have to use your movement abilities to get behind the other team, and at that point, you don't have them to get out.
Look, I mean, the Shock didn't really have anywhere to run there. They lost a player before the fight started, and Ursta's just farming. Now, less than ideal. I mean, Ursta really already has his Meteor Strike, and it's not like a key ultimate. But regardless, the Reign have 4, almost 5 of them anyway. Dogman already a third, back to another Coalescence.
Like I was mentioning, using the movement abilities of Doomfist to get behind the other team here would put you in a really risky spot. Trying to connect with one of those one-shots, well, you can use the Meteor Strike to get out. If you're Ursa, you can play a little bit more aggressive.
But look at the Shock pushing. There is a wall behind them in that little that L-shaped track as they try and move up. So There's risk. You have to think about these things. That's why they don't drop straight over the top there. Take the short route to the point. There's a wall right underneath. Supercharger now for the Shock. I mean business. Rabbinic Flux now, that's from their range. Straight under the Shock. Smurf though, he hits straight away towards that fortify. Ursa want to go in, but where do you look? Who do you find? How about two? The hold perfectly combined now. Pokepo sets it up. And Ursa hits the slam dunk.
Oh, that is a nasty combo there from Pokepo and Ursa. You can see how much shield Ursa has right now. Just landing that Meteor Strike. Perfect combination with the halt and the Meteor Strike. Atlanta's looking to roll this final point.
Yeah, 92%. The Shock don't have a lot of options left. Coalescence, Death Blossom, if they even get to the point. And they have scant seconds to do so. Ursa looking at the left-hand side, trying to get a punch in on anyone who's trying to sneak up there. Mock looks like he got a touch, but we're still into overtime. Babyface having a teleport out of enemy territory. Striker comes in, he gets rid of Ursa with a Death Blossom. There's more work to be done now. Will Pokepo go on the Shock somehow? Stick their foot in the door.
They finally get a break. They're able to break here. They're going to be able to flip the point.
I don't think they're having any cups of tea right now, Matt.
Can they hold this though from 99 to 0? Can they take it all the way back? No ultimates right now here for the Atlanta Reign to work with. Same for the Shock. You're going to have the Meteor Strike probably come online for Sinatraa a little bit earlier. For me, this is going to come down to the next time we see these support ults come around. Next time we see the Coalescence and the Sound Barrier come off, if the Shock can get good uses of those, we're going to be pretty deep in the game. Oh, he gets hit with the accretion, so he gets stunned there, can't get out.
It looks like he got halted in as well by Pokepo. Everything thrown at Sinatraa as he was trying to hurl himself into the enemy team. Ursa now knows he can start looking for some of these kills. Mock survived the rocket punch, but Ursa now wants to bring the house down. What a connection! Evidence suggests you're about to get dunked! No coming back from this one. Ursa drops back in. And just over the top, maybe just stalled out is Mock there with the Sound Barrier. It's only going to be 3 players that benefit from it. It's going to have to do for now. Sinatra's forced away with Mock going down. The Shock route took the point for just a brief moment, but now they're going to take it once more to stay in this fight. Great walk away, not a good sign for Sinatraa. Striker as he backed out, and that'll be it. The Atlanta Reign starts strong in this quarterfinal. The Shock just got rocked.
It's a big halt from Pokepo instead of a Meteor Strike from Ursa, but the bigger one at the end. When both teams had no ultimates, Sinatraa trying to go in, make a play. He's seismic slamming, he gets halted up in the sky a little bit, stays there for a little bit longer, gets hit with the accretion from Gator, the stun, the kill onto the Doomfist, and Atlanta's able to flip the point. We'll see how the series goes. Map number 2 after this.
The Overwatch League is powered by Intel. Game, record, stream without compromise on Intel Core i7. And by Omen, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.